guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing my February wrap-up because it's a new month and a new month means new goals for books, and we're going to be discussing all the books that I end up reading in February. So I thought before we start in this video, I do a little breakdown and give some statistics onto everything that I read in February. So let's rapid fire off those statistics really quickly. So I end up reading 5 books, which came up to 2,074 pages. My top genre ended up being romance, and my overall rating was 3.4 stars out of 5. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of everything that I read in February. I'm first going to start off with all the books that I physically read, and then I'm going to move on to the books that I read on my Kindle. So first and foremost, I started the month off with Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a contemporary fiction, and this follows the story of a girl named Mary B. Allison who allegedly killed a baby. And I'm giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars because personally I didn't find anything that was really gravitating me to continue to read this story. When I was putting down the book, I didn't have that urge to pick it right back up. There were some parts where I felt like were really good and I was hooked, and there was other parts where I felt like it was kind of dragging just a tad, but this story does cover a lot of things, so I will say check your trigger warnings. This is my second book that I'm reading by Tiffany D. Jackson. I love the writing, and I also read this book via Kindle as well, so like some of these chapters were like 25-30 minutes long, and I just really realized while reading this book I'm not a fan of long chapters. I wouldn't say it necessarily took away from the story, but I wasn't as engaged with this story as I have been with other books that I read, so that's why I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. I also read and listened to via audio as well. This is While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. This is my first time reading anything by this author, and I end up giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars. This follows the story of Ben Steffens and Anna Gardner, who are fake dating, and Ben works in advertising and marketing, and Anna Gardner is a Hollywood actress and she's trying to boost her career. For me, I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars because I did not dislike it and I did not absolutely love it as well. It was supposed to have a fake dating trope, but that trope really is not invested into the story until you're about a good 40-50% in. But we already see that our characters, the FMC and the MMC, already have this chemistry and already have this bond together, and they already have this like allegiance and alliance towards one another. So by the time the fake dating trope was announced, it just felt like bland to me. It wasn't giving that inks and gravel that I needed of like they really need each other to be doing them a favor, because Ben was head over heels for Anna, and Anna was already like not in love with him, but they're both was infatuated with each other before the fake dating even begun. So to me, I feel like I would have been a lot more invested in the story if I got more like a enemies to lover or a friends to lover trope. I think a friends to lover trope would have definitely benefited this book a lot more than a fake dating trope, just because they were already infatuated with one another and already had ties to each other. And in the end, I kind of felt like the plot was kind of very much predictable because it's fake dating, so obviously we know they're going to end up in the end 9 times out of 10. So that's why I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I read this book via paperback and Kindle as well. This is Delicious Monsters by LaSalle Sandberry, and this follows the story of Daisy who can see dead people, and it follows a past and present timeline where Brittany is investigating what happened to Daisy a decade later after everything. I ended up giving the book a 4 out of 5 stars. This is I would say a paranormal fiction. So this is a paranormal fiction book. I really enjoyed the story. At some parts in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, past that first 25%, y'all, I was like, I'm going to DNF this book, and I'm going to DNF, I'm going to DNF and DNF. I did not DNF in this book. I kept and I stuck it through, and I'm really glad that I did, because this book definitely started to pick up around that 30 and 40% mark, and I was like, after that I was completely hooked on everything that was going. There's a lot of kind of like trauma that's talked about in this book too, between mother-daughter relationships and things like that as well, and just the parallel between Brittany and Daisy that we see in their lives. It just like really had me distraught. And for this to be a paranormal fiction, I didn't know I was going to be tearing up. This book had some emotional clause to it, but also it talked about, spoiler alert, it also covers about missing black girls and things of that nature around like that. I really enjoyed it, and also this is my first time reading anything by this author as well. So I really did enjoy reading this book. I don't read a lot of paranormal fiction either, so I really was invested in this novel, and I'm really glad I stuck it out, and that's why I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Kindle book. So the first Kindle book I'm going to be talking about is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I got this as an ARC read thanks to Kennedy Ryan and Gally, so thank you so much for the opportunity to read this book before it came out. This book comes out March 5th, and this is a romance novel. This is part of the Skyland series, and it covers Soledad's story, and I give this book a 5 stars. It's a 6-star read to me at heart, but for the papers, it's a 5-star read. I loved everything about this book. This book is all about self-love and self-discovery and a self-journey, and I really enjoyed Soledad's story. I enjoyed the black representation, the Latino representation, the mental health representation, and the autism representation within this book. Kennedy Ryan is really good at writing compelling stories, and her writing overall is so phenomenal. I was very invested in the writing from the very beginning. I was hooked on every word, and it's also very much a modern and very contemporary romance as well. And Judah Cross, when y'all get a chance to read this book, is probably going to end up being your new book boyfriend, because Judah Cross is definitely one of my top tier book boyfriends after reading this book. So if you want a book that's all going to be about self-love, but also about a man who wants to love you and respect your boundaries at the same time, you should definitely pick up this book. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, and that's why I ended up giving it a 6 stars. 5 for paper. 6 stars. And last but not least, I end up reading Magnolia Parks by Jessica Hastings, and I end up giving this book a 2 out of 5 stars. This is a romance novel, and people keep saying this is Gossip Girl but via London. I never read Gossip Girl, but I want to understand what the hype is about, because I've seen so many people that on TikTok like that I'll follow. It's like, I love Magnolia Parks, I love Magnolia and BJ. So it's like, finally I got my hold off Libby. Libby said, girl, we're ready for you. So I said, girl, let me read you. And let me tell you guys, I think I was just a little bit disappointed because I was coming in off the hype, and also because since I know nothing about Gossip Girl, I couldn't really get a feel what this book is for. But if you're looking about a book that's going to be plot driven, this is not. This is completely character driven. It's basically just you watching a TV show. That's the best way I can explain it, and it's toxic as crap. We follow the story of Magnolia and BJ, who's been together since I think they were like 15 or 14, but very much one of those high school couples, and they're very elite, they're highly established, they have a lot of money, and they just go on this back and forth, on and off, and get a relationship. And at parts, I was rooting for Magnolia, and there was parts where I was rooting for BJ, and then it just felt like we would take 1 step forward and take 3 steps back with the story. And I remember vividly reading this book, and I was just like, if I did not finish this book today, I swear to God, I'm going to DNF. And I was like already 80% through the book because it was just dragging. I just found myself getting irritated with the characters because I feel like we were going over the same things over again, and I just felt like this book was starting to give the definition of insanity, because how many times are we going to keep going over the same thing again and still getting the same consequences? And then the thing that was supposed to be the twist at the end, I kind of knew it was coming. I was like, oh, and I was like, but I knew it. That's why he could never give Magnolia an answer. And I was just like, ooh, but I can't see too much. But I don't know, looking back at it, maybe it could be a 3-star read, but I think I'm gonna keep it a 2-star, because while I was reading it, I was just like, I'm really not feeling it. And then after I finished it, I was like, do I continue? Because people says, if you don't like Magnolia, you probably like Daisy Hates, and if you don't like Daisy Hates, then you probably like Magnolia, but they run in the same universe. This is a book of a 5-part series. So I don't know, should I continue on with that series? I have not decided, but that's how I stand right now. I do not love any 2 characters. Before I was really interrupted, I'm sorry. But one thing I really vividly did not like, that I'm just not remembering, is I didn't like how much the friend group and the people around Magnolia and BJ were enablers to their behavior. I feel like somebody should have stepped in and just be like, let that man go, let that girl go, and keep it a book. And that's why I give this book a 2 out of 5 stars. So that is everything that I read in February. I read 5 books, and yeah, I think for the most part I enjoy my books. When it comes down to it, the book that I think everybody should read is probably going to be Delicious Delicious Monsters by the Salisbury, because this is the book that caught my most attention, and I feel like it kind of had a really unique storyline for it to be a paranormal fiction. Yeah. I really don't have much to say. That if you read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts and comments was, and if you don't already, follow me on Goodreads, Fable, and Storygraph. My username is simply.feberasia if you want to be ahead of the game and see what I'm reading books and what my comments are more in depth as well, because I do in-depth reviews on them. But that's it, that's all. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.